Hey folks, I'm Joe Barhoon with Geeks Worldwide, and this is a review of the Microsoft Surface Go. And I'm using the Surface Go's camera. All right, so I'm going to tell you about this device. It's wonderful. It's a small Surface Pro, and that's almost all there is to it. There's a couple things we can talk about: build quality and design, comfort, usability, and I guess overall price justification. So let me start there. The device starts at $400, comes with 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. I don't have that model. I haven't touched that model. But I've seen some benchmarks specifically about read and write speeds off that 64 gigabytes. It uses a storage type called eMMC, and unfortunately, it's slow. So I would not recommend that device strictly because of the speed. If you plan on buying that device for a child, someone who just wants to draw and be creative using the Surface Pen, then okay, maybe that's justifiable. So go ahead, do it, it's your money. But if you're using it in the scenario that I use it for, which is as a traveling professional, someone who needs to use Microsoft Office, a little bit of word processing, a little bit of spreadsheets, so nothing crazy. And also you need to use Chrome or Edge to get online and do some browsing. And you like to doodle or perhaps take notes during a meeting, or like me, you explain things much better using pen and paper, in this case, the Surface Pen and a tablet, then this is the type of device you want, and you want to spend the extra money to get the better, faster storage that's also larger. It's 128 gigabytes. The RAM also doubles, which I'm sure contributes to some of the speed, particularly as your day goes on or your week goes on and you haven't restarted your device for a while. Now, don't forget the Windows 10 does have a feature called Superfetch, which allows you to encourage the operating system to, by just normal use, to preload a lot of the applications you tend to use often. In that case, those applications run faster, but the more RAM you have, the more applications you can load into your memory. Okay, this is probably getting a little too technical. Anyhow, you want the 8 gig model if you're a professional. All right, so moving on to build and overall design. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. For a $550 device, you're getting the same quality that you would get in a Surface Pro. Now, maybe Microsoft's tricking us here, and somewhere they've cut corners. I don't see where they have. Okay, they rounded the corners around the edge of the device, but other than that, it's a small Surface Pro. The bezels, they're thick. They're just as thick as they are on the Surface Pro, maybe minor differences here or there. And it has Windows Hello camera. So before I turned on the video to do this review, I simply looked at my tablet and it unlocked. It was magic. It was great. I love that. Windows Hello should be on every device. I just paid $2,600 for a Razer Blade laptop. Doesn't have any biometrics, not even a fingerprint scanner. So great job, Microsoft. Well done there. In terms of ports, it only has a headphone jack, a slot for a micro SD card, which I am utilizing, and then one USB Type-C without Thunderbolt. Okay, would have been nice to have USB-A, and it's thick enough to have USB-A. But this is the future, this is the trend. Get a dongle, not a big deal. All right, now, in terms of comfort, the keyboard takes some getting used to, but not too much. I've had the device now for less than 24 hours, and I can tell you that, and I was asleep for a good chunk of that, I can tell you that it actually didn't take long to adapt to. I still make some mistakes, and depending on the words I'm typing, I had to go to a finger-to-finger type approach versus putting my hand on the home row key. But for the most part, that's where I am. The keyboard that I'm using is the $130 Alcantara covered signature type cover. Whew. All right. Now that type cover is super comfortable with the Alcantara. There is a $100 model if you're a little nervous about spending the money or things are tight, understand. And it's the same exact form factor. The key travel is the same, which is very good. Now, in addition to having a comfortable keyboard, despite its size, it has a really good touchpad with full Windows Precision driver support, and that is solid. And it's actually pretty big. Considering the overall size of the device, I'm surprised at how big the touchpad is. Along the very top of the keyboard, you're going to find the multimedia keys, and Microsoft did a great job of updating the keyboard to include brightness controls for both the keyboard backlighting, which, hey, great job, backlit keyboard, and then also for the overall brightness of the tablet. You can also start and stop your music, you can increase and decrease your volume, so Microsoft thought about just about everything. In terms, again, of comfort, the kickstand is that full rotation that you've seen before. It goes nearly to 180 degrees. I believe it's 165 degrees, so you get quite a bit of room. It's not going to be great on a lap just because it's a thin piece of metal, magnesium, but it's still going to be great in a pinch. The place you want to take this is on the go, as the name suggests. So I've used it at a cafe. I'm going to be taking it to the bank later for a meeting that I have. It's really good in that environment. I'm sure it'll be great on a plane. I've used the Surface on a plane. I actually used to own the Surface 3, which was just a smidge bigger than this, and it worked very well on flights. So if you're looking for a companion device, this is the key, all right? This is the key to everything here. Who buys this device? If you already have a laptop you like that's 15 inches or 17 inches, and it's not as portable as a small 13-inch computer, and you need that companion device that's just a little bit easier to pick up and start to articulate with a pen, or it's easy to pick up and take it to a meeting, this is the device for you. Especially as Windows fans, you're going to want a companion device that has the ability to sync all of your data. That's a video for another time. And it can also be the same in terms of usability. It's the same, right? You got your start menu, you've got your applications, everything's the same. This is your use case, right? This is what you're buying, the Surface Go. If you're somebody who has an Ultrabook, 13-inch, even if it's touchscreen, even if it rotates, you don't want to buy this tablet necessarily, unless you have just want it because it's adorable. It's a little tiny Surface, then I get it. Otherwise, you know my thoughts. Surface Go, it's a 10.